Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about, I guess, on the show, because I have a bit of time, is I just think it's funny how, I don't know if you guys listen to the Jim Cornette Experience, but he's been going through this thing with Kast Media and Podcast One, and they stole all this money from him and all these other like podcasters, like famous people, Whitney Cummings, Sarah Silverman, Theo Vaughn, right? And so I've been following that saga close because I'm a big fan of like stand-up comedy and MMA and stuff. And on this show, I've talked about the Fighter and the Kid subreddit and Brendan Schaub, which isn't really wrestling related, but it is because Schaub used to pretend to be a pro wrestling fan and then he'd shit on pro wrestling and that sort of thing. So he's just an all around kind of goofball of a guy, right? And people clown on him. His fan base went from his subreddit turned into a subreddit literally dedicated to people cosplaying as people who work as homeless cats who work at a PF Chang's, and they make fun of this guy. I can't even begin to explain how funny it is, but it's the funniest shit ever. And it's not bullying because this Brendan Schaub guy, he's just a fucking weasel. And that is why I bring this up. So Jim Cornette, right? He's had a bunch of money stolen from him by this fucking Colin Thomson Kast Media guy. And so what this Colin Thomson, CoffeeZilla, if you're familiar with him, he just exposed Logan Paul and shit. And that's why I bring this all up, because it is wrestling related, right? And so he exposed Logan Paul for stealing money from those NFTs and all that shit. And so he exposed this Colin Thomson guy for stealing money from everyone. And he actually talked to Brian Last and Jim Cornette on his expose. And he also talked to Brendan Schaub in this. And it's so funny because Brendan Schaub like went and convinced a bunch of people to get with this Colin Thomson guy, which is so funny. So I bring this up because fucking Jim Cornette just released a video that I'm about to go where, and I implore you guys to go listen. He's got like, it's like a 15 part. If you just go on Jim Cornette's YouTube channel, there's like 15 parts to this series of him just talking about what happened. And it's just compelling shit. I don't know, maybe because I'm into wrestling and podcasting, it's extra compelling to me. But either way, so this guy's been hustling money from all these podcasters, and he did so to try and sell this company right. So he basically it just keeps all their money and doesn't pay them, but he gives them these guarantees, quote unquote. And so what happened was Brendan Schaub's on this CoffeeZilla video with Brian Last and Jim Cornette. Shout out CoffeeZilla and Jim Cornette's on there being interviewed by CoffeeZilla, and he's going and he's telling his friends and his co-host Brian Callen that they're missing 400 grand and each of his shows are missing 400 grand. So that's 1.6 million. That's 1.6 million, Bubba. He's saying to CoffeeZilla, yeah, you know, like 1.6 billion or million were fucking stole from us, and I'm a victim from anybody. And then the fucking report comes out. So Jim Cornette's been exposing how this Colin Thomson guy's been offering deals to everyone like, hey, if you sign with us, we'll pay you what you're owed, but then you're under a deal with us. So everyone is like, no, fuck you. We'll sue you. We'll expose you. Jim Cornette's roasting this idiot. Brendan Schaub goes, okay. He fucking signs with this guy. And it came out in this report. Colin Thomson paid Brendan Schaub $1.6 million. So now Jim Cornette's making videos, and I just can't believe it. It's like two universes of the Fighter and the Kid subreddit, r/the Fighter and the Kid, mixed with Jim Cornette now. I can't believe it. Two universes emerged, and now Jim Cornette's like, fuck this Brendan Schaub guy. And it's so funny because all because Schaub is lying. Like, he actually got fucking paid. Like, Colin Thomson paid this dude's 1.6, and then he signed with this dude, further fucking himself. Oh, and like, if you know Brendan Schaub, he's like, oh, I'm a marketing guy. Like, he even criticizes Joe Rogan, who's his friend, by the way. The only reason Brendan Schaub has anything to do with comedy is because of Joe Rogan. I've heard him shit on even oh, I'm the best brains for the business. Yeah, like that. Brendan Schaub like thinks he's a marketing whiz. He fucking signed with this guy, and like Rolling Stone or someone wrote this. I can't remember who. This giant mainstream publication wrote this story about how fucking Schaub actually was paid 1 million, but he actually signed with the dude to get his 1.6, and then is still lying to all his friends, telling him this guy still owes him the money. And now Jim Cornette's roasting him and going, well, fuck, we're owed like fucking a third of that or whatever, you know, like, shit, you paid this guy. with our fucking money and shit. So fuck this guy. And it just couldn't be funnier. It just couldn't be a funnier thing. So I just wanted to sign off the show by telling you guys, go look into the Fighter and the Kid subreddit if you ever have time and find that sort of thing funny. Like, I don't know, if you find, like, personally me, dude, I find a lot of like the LA comedy scene, like that shit has gotten so cringe. The Joe Rogan sphere of podcasting friends, super friends, I think that shit has gotten so cringe over the years. And Brendan Schaub is a big reason why. Check out r/the Fighter and the Kid if you're on Reddit, and check out the Jim Cornette Experience. Just type in Jim Cornette, Colin Thomson, and shout out CoffeeZilla too. Check that all out because it is interesting stuff if you're into, like, I don't know, behind the scenes, because it does have to do with wrestling. Like, this guy's exposed Logan Paul too and stuff like that. So it does have to do with it if you're into wrestlers and their lives and not just the shows and shit itself. So I'm gonna go listen to Cornette fucking destroy Brendan Schaub.